Howdy folks, and welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles. Mingles with Jingles, of course, completely advert free, assuming I remember this time. Thank you once again to everybody who supports me on Patreon. And we're going to start this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles straight away with some of your questions. This one from Task Force Crusader 11 on the Mingle with the Jingles channel on the Jingles Salt Mine Discord server. Mighty Overlord of the Salt Mines and Rear Admiral of the Salty Seas, do you think there will ever be HMS heavy cruisers? Would love to see them in the tech tree, or at least a premium such as Dorsetshire or York. Yeah, I think if the Royal Navy and World of Warships is ever going to get heavy cruisers, they will probably be premiums. Because the Royal Navy didn't really do heavy cruisers. I mean, there were some, obviously, the two that you mentioned there, the Dorsetshire and the York, the county class heavy cruisers. But the Royal Navy was more into its light cruisers. Lots and lots and lots of different types and classes of light cruisers. Heavy cruisers, not so much. Battle cruisers, yeah. We were one of the few countries that went into battle cruisers in a big way. Germany had some, although their battle cruisers were more heavily armoured than ours. Our battle cruisers, it didn't work out too well. They had an annoying habit of exploding whenever you fired at them. Several of them exploded catastrophically at the Battle of Jutland. And then, of course, you've got the Hood, which began life as a battle cruiser, but by World War II it had been up-armoured and was technically a battleship, but still exploded catastrophically when it got hit by the Bismarck. By contrast, the US Navy were almost the complete opposite. Lots and lots of different types and classes of heavy cruisers, as well as light cruisers. And they didn't really go in for battle cruisers, much, if at all. I think they only ever built two. One of which, the USS Alaska, is going to be available. I can't actually remember the status of the ship at the moment, but it's definitely been on super test, and the community contributors have had a go at it. And if it's not available now, it will be available very, very soon. But the Royal Navy built so few different types of heavy cruiser that you couldn't really populate a separate heavy cruiser line in the British tech tree in World of Warships. I mean, you could, but you'd have to make a lot of stuff up. So yeah, I think if they were ever to introduce any heavy cruisers into the British tech tree, they would probably be in the shape of county class premium heavy cruisers, like the Dorsetshire, for example. Now, I'm not aware of any plans that Wargaming have to do this, but you also have to take into account things like captain skills, because the skills that a captain of a heavy cruiser would have are not necessarily going to be the same as the skills that a captain on a light cruiser would have. So it may not be terribly practical to transfer your existing light cruiser captains to a premium heavy cruiser in order to train them up. If the heavy cruiser has access to high explosive shells, and I can't think of a good reason why it wouldn't, the ideal captain of a heavy cruiser is going to have different skills to your existing light cruiser captains, so you've got to think about the practicality of it as well. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there, myself included, who would buy a premium HMS Dorsetshire just because it was HMS Dorsetshire, but there are also probably a lot of people out there who would look at it and think, well, I can't put my existing captains on it, so what's the point? Then again, it's almost exactly the same situation as happened with HMS Warspite. I mean, when that thing was introduced, and for a very, very long time afterwards, it was it wasn't just the only British battleship in the game, it was the only British ship in the game. And yet it sold like hot cakes. People didn't really seem to mind that they were only ever going to have one captain that was useful on it. But then again, that might be more to do with the fact that it was the Warspite, and it was a British battleship. The Warspite is probably known by a fair few people, probably more so than ships like the Dorsetshire or the Norfolk. At the time the Warspite was introduced into the game, it was the only British ship you could get. The novelty of owning a British warship has kind of worn off now. We've got the British battleships, we've got the British light cruisers, and now we've got the British destroyers. So I think if they were going to make something of a British heavy cruiser, it would have to be something with a pretty remarkable and famous combat history. And you can say that of the Warspite. I mean, it's got quite a story attached to it. And I'm not saying that ships like the Norfolk or the Dorsetshire don't. They certainly took part in some pretty major engagements, but they're not quite as well known as a ship like the Warspite. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't expect British heavy cruisers to appear in World Warships at all. They might, but I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. Ace Pilot 666 said, "Dear Mr. Jingles, long-time fan, love your work. Wanted to ask, how are your feelings or position on Blizzard after the Diablo debacle? And how are you still liking Battle for Azeroth? It's also great you've got multi-platform, and I'd love to gift you some great games I think you'd love and have fun multiplayer with as well as with friends and subscribers or Patreons." Thank you. Yeah, the Diablo debacle. So, the Diablo debacle. For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about here, Blizzard, I'm sure you've heard of them, although technically they're Blizzard Activision now, but Blizzard responsible for some pretty major PC gaming titles. Games like World of Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, Overwatch, and of course, Diablo. And they had announced that at BlizzCon, they were going to be making a fairly major announcement about the future of Diablo, a new game. So everybody turned up at BlizzCon, very excited to hear about a new Diablo game coming to the PC. And Blizzard did indeed announce a new Diablo game. But it's not a PC game. It's probably never going to be on PC. It is, in fact, a mobile phone game. Yes, really. A lot of people got very upset about this. Understandably so. How do I feel about it? I really like the Diablo games, 1, 2 and 3. I mean, they're not the type of games that are going to hold my attention forever. But I definitely played through the storylines on multiple characters in each of the games and had a lot of fun doing it. They were the kind of games that always sat on my PC hard drive. Even after I'd gotten bored with them, they would sit there and I'd keep them up to date via the Blizzard launcher. And every couple of months I'd have another go. It might only be for a few hours, but you knew exactly what to expect from a gameplay session of Diablo. And I would almost certainly have bought and played through to completion, as much as you can be said to complete a game like Diablo. I would have done this for Diablo 4 as well, if it was coming to the PC. But as a mobile game? Hell no. Oh, hell no. Why not? What's wrong with mobile games? Well, there's nothing specifically wrong with mobile games. There are some fairly good mobile games out there. Not many. But there aren't that many mobile games out there that are based on, this kind of franchise. And I have no doubt that when it does come to your mobile device, whether that be a tablet or your smartphone, or your handheld console, whatever, that it will be an extremely polished, groundbreakingly good mobile game, because that's basically just what Blizzard do. They do make very, very polished and good games. But the fact that it's coming to mobile rather than PC speaks volumes about how Blizzard Activision intend to monetize it. Because that's the basic business model of mobile games, isn't it? They're all designed to squeeze as much cash out of you as quickly as possible until you get sick of the whole experience. So in that respect, it's actually not too surprising. Looking back on the announcement, it's not that surprising that they've decided that the Diablo franchise is coming to the mobile platform. Because like I said, it's not really the kind of game that tends to hold your attention for a long period of time. It's not the only pick up and play type of game that Blizzard have done. I mean, you could argue that the only game that they've done that isn't really designed to be experienced in relatively short bursts would be World of Warcraft. You can jump in and spend half an hour on Hearthstone, half an hour on Heroes of the Storm. You can jump in and spend half an hour on Diablo. You tend to have to commit a little bit more time to playing a game like World of Warcraft or StarCraft, for example. But the difference between Diablo and Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm is that Diablo is far more focused on loot. Diablo has always been about acquiring new shinies. And you sit down and play Diablo for half an hour and you're going to come away with a dozen or more new items of loot. Most of them will be useless, but even the ones that are useless can be broken down and used to improve existing gear. So let's just think about this. You have a game, Diablo, that people tend to play in short bursts, which is, let's be honest here, designed for people with short attention spans. And it's all about the acquisition of stuff at a, frankly, dizzying rate. And it's coming to the mobile platform. They're going to monetize the shit out of this, aren't they? This game is going to be microtransaction central. But hey, it's Blizzard. I mean, at least it should be pretty good. Well, not necessarily. Blizzard aren't even developing it. They farmed it out to some other development team. I mean, that doesn't mean it's going to be bad, but, well, it's not a good sign, is it? Now, I should, for being completely fair here, point out that this is not necessarily Diablo 4. It's just the next Diablo title. Blizzard did say that they do have other Diablo projects under development. So we're almost certainly going to see the next big Diablo title come to the PC. But that kind of got lost in all the outrage when they closed off BlizzCon by announcing that the next Diablo title was basically designed to screw you out of every last cent in your pocket until you just couldn't stand being screwed anymore. So, yeah. I have to admit, I've been getting kind of concerned about Fallout 76 as well, although I realise I'm going slightly off topic here and I haven't even answered all of Ace Pilot's questions. I didn't bother doing an awful lot of research into Fallout 76 because it's Fallout. I've played and loved every Fallout title. Well, maybe not Fallout Tactics, but almost every Fallout title. Why should Fallout 76 be any different? Surely it's just going to be Fallout 4 with upgraded graphics. Apparently not. I mentioned how much I was looking forward to Fallout 76, just kind of casually, in an episode of Mingles with Jingles a couple of weeks ago, and I do remember seeing certain comments along the lines of, yeah, I think I'm going to pass on this one. I mean, if I wanted to play a game where I spend the first 8 hours of gameplay cautiously creeping around the game world, gathering resources and equipment, building up my settlement to withstand attacks, only to find myself getting ganked, griefed and overrun by a bunch of angry teenagers who teabag my corpse and yell abuse at me down the in-game voice channel, I'd just play DayZ. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate that that's kind of part of the whole point and attraction of playing a game like DayZ. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're getting into, then, that's absolutely fine. But a lot of people, well, they don't expect that and they don't want that of a Fallout title. So that came as a bit of a surprise after a little bit of investigation. But then after a little bit more investigation, it turned out that in the same way that a game like Conan Exiles, which is exactly the same sort of thing, allows you to have private servers where you can only invite your friends to play with you. Which is kind of missing the point of playing Conan Exiles. Although I'm guilty of doing that. I tend to play Conan Exiles just as a sort of Minecraft, but with much better graphics. And while at release Fallout 76 is going to be public servers, so basically DayZ, they have announced that after release they are also going to allow you the option of running private servers where you can play Fallout 76 just with your friends, so you don't have to worry about getting griefed and teabagged by angry teenagers yelling abuse at you down the in-game voice channel. Not at release, however. First they want to make sure that the whole experience is stable, and then at some point in the future after release you are going to be able to play on your own private servers. So yeah, I'm almost certainly still going to get Fallout 76. I mean, the game's released in 2 days. And I will be getting it on the PC because, I mean, yeah, you can get it on the PS4, but no. It's going to be better on the PC because mouse and keyboard. And I am actually quite looking forward to it. Although I'm not going to be getting it on the day of release. I'm going to wait until the private servers are announced, and then I'm probably going to be playing it cooperatively with Rita. Because there aren't a huge amount of games out there that we both like, and we do both love the Fallout series, that you can actually play in co-op, and Fallout 76 is going to be one of them. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Rita, however, is going to be playing it on the day of release. So yeah, she's going to be getting ganked and teabagged by gangs of angry teenagers so I don't have to. So I'm looking forward to that at least. Not playing it, watching Rita play it. That's going to be amusing. Anyway, back to the rest of Ace Pilot's questions. He asked if I'm still playing Battle for Azeroth, the expansion for World of Warcraft. No, not really. I really enjoyed it at first. I got 3 characters to maximum level. My mage, my warrior, and of course the mighty Jingles himself, my gnome warlock. But I don't think I've played World of Warcraft in well over a month. And the PlayStation and Red Dead Redemption has absolutely nothing to do with that. For about 3 weeks prior to my getting the PlayStation, I hadn't played World of Warcraft at all. I just got bored with it. It was just same old, all over again. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. It's an MMORPG. It's still Warcraft. It's still grind and repetition. But no, I haven't played it in ages. I actually thought about this the other day. I thought, you know what, I haven't played World of Warcraft in ages. I wonder if I'm going to play more Red Dead Redemption 2 instead. To be completely fair, I haven't played a whole lot of anything else since I got the PlayStation 4. Red Dead Redemption 2 has been just eating my life up. When I'm not playing it, Rita's streaming it. I haven't actually... I think I've completed 56% of the game. And that's with well over 2 weeks of near constant gameplay. And I haven't done everything, even up until the point where I am. There's all kinds of side quests and stuff that I haven't done. Occasionally I just stop doing the quests and just go out and wander the world and see what's out there. And there's a surprising amount that is actually out there. A huge amount of content that if you just follow the storyline, you'll completely miss. And it'll still probably take you 3 or 4 weeks to complete the game just doing the storyline missions. If you go off the beaten track and just get out there in the world to see what else is out there, you're probably talking 2 or 3 months before you even get close to completing this game. It really is astonishingly good. In fact, the only thing that I have played other than Red Dead Redemption 2 since getting the PlayStation 4 is, well, I had a quick go of Detroit Being Human, which looks quite interesting, but not interesting enough that I'm going to stop playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I have been playing quite a bit of Horizon Zero Dawn, and I've also been playing World of Warships, but not a lot. It's very much been just a complete overdose on this since I got the PlayStation. So no Battle for Azeroth, not since well before I got the PlayStation, and since I got the PlayStation, nothing other than the game that you're watching in the background right now has stood a chance. I really hope this thing comes to PC. I mean, if it does. I don't know that it will. I mean, the original Red Dead Redemption never came to PC. But Grand Theft Auto, or all of the Grand Theft Auto games did. I mean, they started on the PC. But Grand Theft Auto 5 was consoles first, and then it came to PC. It was a great game on the PC. This game is going to be amazing on the PC. There are certain things that are going to be more difficult on the PC, and certain things that are going to be a lot easier. Combat is going to be a lot easier on the PC. I mean, it's not terrible on the PlayStation 4, but mouse and keyboard is definitely going to be better. Then again, travel, riding your horse around, is probably going to be a little trickier on the PC because you've got these analog thumbsticks on the PlayStation. So if you want to move forward slowly, you just don't push the thumbstick all the way forward. But with the PC keyboard, you're either moving forward or you're not. There are no degrees of movement on a PC keyboard. So that's, I'm prepared to put up with that just for this game to come to PC, because I will play it again from start to finish. I really have enjoyed this game that much. But anyway, going back to Ace Pilot's final question. Well, not so much a question as an offer. He said there were all kinds of games that he wanted to gift me. Ace Pilot, thank you very much for your generosity, but seriously, the one thing that I am not short of right now is new games to play. I've got a whole bunch of titles for the PS4. It's Christmas is coming. There's all kinds of new stuff coming out for the PC. Fallout 76, for example. Hopefully, by the time Christmas comes around, the private servers will be available, and I'll be able to sink many, many productive hours of my life into Fallout 76 as well. So thank you very much for your very generous offer, but really not needed. KA has a very good question. Jingles, do you know the reason why World of Warships does not yet support replays natively? I mean, they've been available since the beta test and they've always worked, so why on earth have they not been implemented as a native option in the game? If possible, relay this message to the World of Warships developers from us humble salt miners. We really want those replays natively. You know, that's a very good question. He's absolutely right. You've always, even back during the closed beta test, you've been able to get replays working. You had to mess around with a game file in order to do it, but it was just a question of adding an extra line of code to a text file. You could just cut and paste it straight in there, providing you followed the instructions. They've even provided the instructions on how to do it. They've even gone a step further, and if you check the forums, I'm pretty sure there's a pinned thread there somewhere listing all of the controls available in replays. And yet, in order to get them working, you still have to tinker with one of the game files. There's no native replay support built into the game. Or you can download a mod which will enable the replays for you. In fact, the official World of Warships mod pack includes the option to enable replays, but the game itself doesn't. It's just bizarre. World of Tanks has had native replay support for years. And World of Warships has been out for years with replays working if you tinker with one of the game files. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's actually a very good question. This is actually something that the community contributors bring up to the developers every couple of months or so. Can you, make replays work within the game itself? And it's always one of those things that, sure, it's on the to-do list, but they never seem to get around to doing it. I'll poke them again, if it helps, but I wouldn't expect anything to happen anytime soon. It's worth a try, but yeah, thanks for bringing it up. I will bring it to the attention of the developers once again. Finally, from the Mingles discussions channel on the Saltmine Discord server, when McGuibe said, please could you thank Jingles for his service in the Royal Navy for me, because I'm actually recording this on Remembrance Day, and I replied with an "ah, shucks." Sir Blake responded with, hello there, Sir Gentleman, Mr. Overlord. How's the Mingles with Jingles video coming along? It's coming along very well, actually, Sir Blake. In fact, I'm just about done, so thank you for asking. And that is very much the end of this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles. I really have to get back to Red Dead Redemption 2. I think at this point I'm 58% of the way through the main story, so another 3 weeks or so, depending, well, maybe longer, depends how much I get sidetracked, but in another optimistic 3 weeks or so I may actually be finished with the game. And then I'll really be able to start getting into Horizon Zero Dawn, or maybe Marvel's Spider-Man, or Detroit Being Human, or The Last of Us Remastered, or, hey, you never know, maybe the Fallout 76 private servers will be available by then. I know, it's a tough old life, isn't it? Oh, let's not forget the first DLC for Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well. Oh my, oh my, oh my, it's a great time to be a multi-platform gamer. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for the questions, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.